there's sexual violence, there's rape, there's gang rape, and then there's this crime, which is a gang rape followed by dismemberment. And the dismemberment, the nature of it is so heinous. The only time I ever broke down in the 6-year process of making this was when I read the medical reports of what actually happened, the documents that went to court. When I read those, I had fallen into a depression for about a month, because I was trying to understand, how can a human being do this to another? I think, sadly, as a population, we've become accustomed to the idea of rape. It's awful, but we understand the basics, the power dynamics, and toxic masculinity behind it.
And what answer have you come up with? How can a human being do that to another person? Have you found a private answer for yourself, at least?
If I had an answer for that, I wouldn't have profiled the people who are trying to figure it out. I don't have an answer for it, because it's a kind of darkness I think is incomprehensible. And in a way, what helped me to cope with it was to endure the details of it through the eyes of these extremely courageous women.
Now, the show was praised for how it depicted the way Indian women are treated and for bringing sexual crimes against them into the limelight. So do you believe you made a TV series that changed India?
No, I mean, I don't know if, to quote probably many other filmmakers, I don't know if TV series and films can change anything.
Why do you make them?
Maybe they can, because there's a tiny part of me that can hope. I think it can change individuals. Can it change all of society? I don't know. Certainly, films I have seen in the past have changed me, because I'm so susceptible to that. I would hope and assume that for you too in the media world it's happened. Can it change society? I don't know. And I'm still striving to understand this, but I keep trying. And in whatever capacity I have, all I know how to do is make movies. I'm going to keep trying to push this.
Let me quote an article by Reuters agency published in December 2019. Instances of brutal rape and violence against the women who reported have given India the dismal reputation of being one of the worst places in the world to be female. Do you agree?
I agree with that statement, that statistic. Yeah.
And how do you feel about it as someone who actually never lived in India but has got a strong root connection to it?
Well, I mean, the fact is, in the last 17 years now, I've spent 6 months a year in India, and cumulatively many years in a row. So I've had that experience, but the fact is, I can never, as a man, understand really what that means. And that's another reason I wanted to explore this project. There's a limit to my understanding. There's a limit to men's understanding of this type of violence and this type of pain that a woman would have to endure every day.
You're now expecting your first child, a daughter. Is it out of question you would let her grow up in India?
No, it's not out of question. But I certainly, you know, there are times, to be perfectly honest, a couple of months ago in the park here, I saw, it looked like a father teaching his very young daughter how to box. She must have been 7 or 8. And a part of me sometimes thinks, you know, if I'm in those environments, you know, what will I do? Will I be that person who teaches them self-defense? Will I teach them how to think about putting themselves in certain situations where there could be danger? Because there's the ideal side of me, which just says, oh, the world will become better if we all become better. And then there's the realist side of me, which you can't afford to make these types of mistakes as a parent. So it's a real struggle. I would never want her to not spend time and live in India, especially with me. But certainly I would think twice about certain aspects of, you know, what time do we go out at night? Are you alone? These things.